Hebrew that anyone speaks today, I don't think is anywhere near the same thing of
Wi-Fi.
I know I don't have any. It's on. Anybody want to help? What? No, it's. I don't know what the problem is, to be honest.
It's not hot yet. That's.
Someone wants to fix it.
You're actually sitting next to me.
He still likes you. He's young.
All right. Todd, got it? All right. Cool. Number three, boys. Let's get
There's a
started.
mechitza over here.
I'll come and sit right here.
Okay.
We are. This is not the controversial house. You two. Okay. So figure it out on your own time. Sukkah. In Masechet Sukkah, why? Where did we get the women's section from? Where did this all come about?
Yeah, that's not from the base.
It's not a ship for the Beit HaMikdash. Originally, the women were in front, and the men would go past through the women to go to where we're going in the Beit HaMikdash on the holidays.
I can't imagine anything bad happening like that.
Right. And then so apparently we kind of got into some trouble. A lot of winks happening, a lot of NG, whatever. So so what happened? So they made where the women would be in the back, and the women would be in the back, and then the men would be in the front, and it still didn't help. So they made bleachers for the women. They made bleachers for seats over seats, and the men would walk through and not, you had no interaction. And that's because we're, the work people of it, and that's why. As I got the women's section, time of Beit HaMikdash, very interesting. So let's go to Gimel. So we all know this famous thing that Moshe Rabbeinu tells Paro, like number three on Bo, Parashat Bo, Tav Resh Chaf, where Moshe tells Paro around Hatzot, right? Kahatzot alayla. Ko amar Hashem kahatzot alayla. Hashem said around the time of Hatzot. Right? And the Gemara Berachot Hatzot is midnight. Now, the day is split into how many? Into 4. Okay, you have 2 in the day, 2 in the night. Right? You have half of the first part of the day, half of the second part of the day. Then you have the first part of the night and second part of the night, and then so on and so forth. So the Gemara says, Moshe Amar Kahatzot. Right? Velo Amar Bahatzot. Why? Remember, why did he say Kahatzot? Around the Hatzot time, around the midnight time. It doesn't say midnight. Midnight-ish. Like Eli likes to put on our class, where you start 8:30-ish. Okay. Why? Hashem said on Hatzot. Moshe tells Paro around Hatzot. But he also says, so said God. Hashem said that. Why would he do that? So the Gemara explains, Kedesh shelo yiru Paro ve'yomru Moshe badayu. In order that the astrologers will not come and say, oh, Moshe's a liar. It happened at 11:59, it happened at 12, or it happened 12:01, it didn't happen at 12 on the dot. Therefore, it's, he's a liar. That's the reason, according to the Gemara, one Moshe said one way and not the other. Okay, which is very clear, very, very what's going. But the real question is, by the way, again, Zera Shimshon loves to ask the very obvious question. Okay, why are you going to tell me? Why are you going to tell me that all of a sudden they're not going to believe Moshe Rabbeinu? Where is this coming from? It's not like he's coming in from the first. It's not dumb, okay? Talking Makah Pechorot, he earned the stripes already, okay? Makshim Alam, Shemikol Makom Moshe Aya Lo Lomar Belashon Shemal Lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the first questions that I asked, I was waiting for some fruits. I was hoping. I didn't know if you knew did you bring last week too? Oh, neither was I. Okay. So listen, no.
Week before you did.
So listen, so the first question Zera Shimshon asked is, why wouldn't Moshe say it in the way God said it? Boys, listen up. Come on. That Moshe should have said it in the same lashon that Kadosh Baruch Hu said, or don't say the words Ko Amar Hashem. Don't say so Hashem said. Pick your poison. You want to say it in your own words, then say it in your own words. All right. If you don't want to say it in your own words, and so fine. Don't say it in your own words. But don't say that. That's what God. Not fair. That's not what God said. God said Bahatzot at Hatzot, right on midnight exact, and you decided to say during. Okay, around the time, right? Right. So what it should say, Moshe kahatzot alayla. It should have said that Moshe said around midnight. And not only that, that after they saw that the nevuah of Moshe Rabbeinu is emet, and Moshe Rabbeinu's tefillah is emet. What do you mean by tefillah? Every time the Makkah came, how did it end? Right? It's Moshe went to go pray. That's how every one of these Makkot ended. Right, Tom? Right? Always says by the every Makkah, it only ended when Moshe prayed. So they already know that it comes when he says it comes, and it ends when he says it ends. Right? Lama ata. Why now? Yomru badayu. Why all of a sudden they can say, oh, he must be a liar? Makes no sense. You all got the questions? So two questions. Why? One, right, Sash, you're listening. The first question is if he says it, if he wants to say it in his own words, then say it in your own words, but don't say, so said God. Right? And if you want to say, and if you're going to say it in God's words, then say it in God's words. First question. Second question is why all of a sudden would the people assume that Moshe Rabbeinu now is a liar? They know that all the Makot came because he said that they were going to happen. And also, every Makkah ended by his tefillah. He would go outside of Mitzrayim, pray, and all of a sudden they would go. Like we learned this from Sfardeya.
Only one of them you didn't say when it was going to come, the locust.
No, when it was going to come, not when it was going to go. When it was going to end. When it was going to end, he said Mahad.
Oh, that's right.
Last week.
No, Yeod. No, I know, but what's this? There's a seder. He warns them by the Yeod, he warns them by the palace, and then no warning. If you look at each one of the set of three makot, that's what it is. Yeod, the palace, no warning. That's the Pesukim, black and white. So now,
Wait, how does Moshe know how to get out of Mitzrayim?
ways, directions.
There was a phone down there.
No, but that's why phones make you stupid. Before, Daddy would know everyone's phone number by heart. Now I don't even know Mommy's number by heart. Hey, man, I'm serious. I
And
know.
recently there was people following the Google Maps and they ended up driving downstairs because they believe in it so much they
Right.
followed it all the
They
way.
just, I drove through Bethlehem because Bethlehem and the New Jersey Turnpike. 2 times I had me admit. So whenever I'm on the turnpike, I say both. And whenever I cross over to go to 60, I say both. It's true. I remember because Waze told me you make a right. I made a sharp right. I didn't make the next right like you're supposed to. So I go and I see the giant banner in Arabic. I don't know what it says. I'm like, okay, driving. And all of a sudden I go, oh, I ain't in Kansas anymore. This don't look right. And I drive, and I say, okay, let me just follow Waze. Now Waze is going straight because it thinks I'm on 60 because it goes parallel.
Right.
So I'm going, and I'm going over the speed bump. They mean nothing. I'm just driving through. Yeah, I feel them staring at me on the back of my neck. I'm wearing my kippah, same kippah, and it's a disaster. Now I get to where do I get to? There's a dead end, which means I have to go all the way back. So I had to make a Yui, and I zoomed. I said, this don't look right. But I said, because that could have gone south real fast. So thank God. So
Why
again,
is there a dead end if you want to get there?
why is there a part that says do not cross, and it was just desert, so I had to turn around. There was no in the old days. You wouldn't rely on these things. You rely on the signs you see around you, right? You would count. It takes me 5 minutes to get to this place. You used your head. Technology is awesome, but only if you use it in the right way. If you use it to let you run your life, it's very dangerous. All right, let's get to you. Sorry, you
You
get
also need to look up. You can't just look at the screen.
right. Exactly. So again, we got our 2 questions. Good. First one is what that if Moshe wants to use his own words, then don't say God said so. And the second one is we already know that Moshe Rabbeinu is an Avi and everything starts and ends with him with all the Makot. So why would now, through a technicality that they might think, all of a sudden, not only say doubt him, but say liar. Badai means like a liar. Okay, third question. Might not come for these guys, right? It's tagninim ben rega lerega. What does it matter? It's a minute. It's not the Olympics. It doesn't matter what the time is. Whether it's going to be exactly at that moment or not. As long as it came on the same night. What do you want to say? He says 12:05. Moshe. You know what I'm saying? I miss you guys. Early, by the way. I said I missed you. It's 3 weeks I didn't see you. So I was hoping it's okay. It's fine. I can see you now. Okay. So again, what's the question? We're asking. What does it make sense? What's we know Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Ka hatzot halayla." When's Makal Bechorot going to happen? Around. And the Gemara Berachot Daled Amud Aleph says that why did he say around midnight? God said at midnight, so that the sorcerers, right, or the astrologers won't have something to say and call Moshe a liar. Okay. So 2 questions we ask. One is let Moshe say things in his own words if he wants. We're on Gimel. Okay, Bo Gimel. And the second question we asked is after that they already saw that Moshe with all his tefillot and all everything, they already knows how great he is. What on a technicality, why would they start assuming that the guy's a liar? That's the second. Why are we being so makpid? Well, that's another problem. You can't do that either. And also, why we care about rega lerega, right? That they were so makpid that if it doesn't happen on that exact time or not. Meaning, as long as it comes on the same night. And by the way, if the astrologer, whoever says it's going to rain at 8:00 tomorrow and it rains at 9, you're not going to call the guy a liar. He called it, whatever. It's going to rain. It rained. It rained. Snowstorm. Snowstorm. What's the difference? Why are you being so careful? Fourth question. Right? Israel atzmam. Okay, so now here comes the fourth question that's brought down in the Zohar, which is crazy. This issue of Bahatzot Laila is this. Oh, check the thing upstairs. Yeah, sorry. on the Hatzot Laila, Bnei Israel, we're gonna challenge Moshe also 3 different questions. The fact that Moshe said like Hatzot and not on Hatzot, the Zohar in Parashat Bo explains that there's 3 questions that they were gonna ask on Moshe.
Did they?
That I don't know. He says so. So he asked these 3 questions, and then he says that. Then the Zohar says. So he asked what's the answer? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says he goes. There's major secrets that only the tzaddikim that are able to thresh the field of God knows the answers to. Meaning the sodot of the Torah that they're able to get to, right? Because they're able to work in this field. Like it's a symbol. You know, it's what's the word? What's the word? Like it's a metaphor, right? The ones that know such heavy sodot, those are the ones that are able to know. Okay, that's what he's saying. So, but it goes on to a whole tangent on Bnei Yisrael having a Ta'ana on Moshe also. Why is not exact and all these things? Okay, so you see that even Bnei Yisrael would have a problem with Moshe. So remember, these are our questions. Okay, by the way, it's a great question. No, what's the big deal? Hatzot Laila or not? Who cares? Whatever. Every house had a death. Every house had someone dead. Does it really matter? Like, we're really going to split hairs? I mean, it's crazy. We know. So now we're going to get into the planets. You know, we have mazalot. Mazalot are real. We are above them. We don't have that issue, but they do exist. Okay? Now, what do we have? The first half of the night, which Makab Bechorot happens. What do you have? You have two constellations. You have Jupiter and you have Mars. You have 2 planets, but it's not constellation around the planets. No, it's a whole situation. Each situation, fine. You got 2 situations. We'll talk Syrian. 2 situations at night. Okay. One, you have Kochav Sedek, which is Jupiter, which is the 6th hour of the night. Is it good? Ish, we got to cut it. There's meat in there. It's like a deli roll. Oh, you did already? You're the man, the best. All right, which is the 6th night, which is the last hour, of the first half of the night. Again, let's make it easy. Shaot Zmaniot. Remember learning Berachot? Shaot Zmaniot. You have 6 hours. Let's say that you have 6 to 6. I was waiting for you. 6 to 12 and 12 to 6. 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. And then you have 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. You got it? 6 p.m., right, which is dinner time. So you have dinner time until midnight, and then you have midnight to breakfast, 6 a.m. Okay, that's your 2 splits of the night. The first one is Jupiter. Jupiter is what's the word? What's the right word? He has influence. Jupiter has influence on the 6th hour, which is 11 o'clock, 11 p.m. Okay, which is the last hour of the first part of the night. Remember, we said the first part of the night is what? 6 to 12. Dinner time to midnight. So that's Jupiter's time. Okay? Now Jupiter ends the last hour of that thing. So it's 11 to 12. Right? And the next one comes in is what? Is Mars. Right? Ma'dim. B'sha'ah in the 7th hour. Which is the first hour of the second half. So that would be what? From 12 to 1? Yeah. 12 to 1. So you have 11 to 12, and then you have 12 to 1, right? I want to be clear. You have the plan, you have the situations, right, Yaakov? You have the situations in Shammai, right? In the what's it called? In space, right? And what are they? And you have the Jupiter handling the first half of the night, and Mars handling the second half of the night. Not to make it easier. Now, there's changing of the guards, right? As one goes out, the next one comes in. So you have Jupiter comes in from 6 p.m. and leaves at 12 a.m. And then you have the other guy, Mars, coming in at 12 a.m. until 6. Okay. Now Mars. Now again, so Jupiter, the last hour, the first half. So 11 to 12 a.m., 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. is Jupiter. It's not the whole 6, it's just the 1 hour. That's crazy. I want to say, don't cheat. I want to make sure everyone understands this. Okay? And the second one, well, you're closing like you got it, you're good, you're leaving.
Oh, just saying like.
Yeah. And the second, and the 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. is Mars. Okay? Shehare, by the way, who says it? The Rashi says this in Berachot. All right? Shehare Israel. Yeah, by the way, when did we leave Mitzrayim? Thursday. You should know, we left Mitzrayim on a Thursday. When did we get Torah? Shabbat. Very good. Okay, so we left, what?
50 days later.
50 days later. So Mitzrayim, we left Mitzrayim on a Thursday.
So the Makat Brachot was Wednesday night after Chatzot.
Must be. There you go. Very good. Like it says in Masechet Shabbat, Perek Rabbi Akiva, right? In the Mefashim also right. Listen. Ve'im hayta Makat Bechorot, rega kodim hatzi halayla. Now, if Makat Bechorot comes 1 second before the end of the first half of the night, which is what? Which is the end of Sedek, which is Jupiter. Lo haya kol kach netz. It's not going to be such a great miracle if Bnei Yisrael is saved, right? Rak ikar hanet. What's the main part of the netz, the miracle? That the Mitzrayim all had a death in their house. Everybody died because it made sense. Mars is a rougher, is more rough. It's like death. It's red. I don't know, it's bad. Okay, Jupiter is Rahamim more. It's much more Rahamim. Okay, but Mars is more Deen. Scary stuff.
Actually, some people today who don't.
Yeah. No, which one?
They don't make Kiddush during the 7th hour.
Yeah?
Chabadnikim don't make.
Chabad, they don't, yeah.
They don't make.
They don't make-
They don't make Kiddush on Friday night when it's the 7th hour.
The 7th hour? That's what is that's I'm sleeping already. What are you talking
No,
about?
that's 6 o'clock.
But from 6 to 7, they won't make.
They won't make it. They won't Kiddush.
Because what? Because it's a situation of Deen. Right? So again, so if it would have happened 1 second before the next shift, then it wouldn't be such a great miracle. Why? Because it wouldn't be so amazing that Bnei Yisrael got saved. It's because the Mitzrayim died, because it makes sense. Sheikol Mitzrayim afa pi shekochav haya tov. Ve'in hachinami sheYisrael lo haya lahem zechut ligael. Right? And that we didn't have the zechut to be saved. Ela biyot oto rega, just because at that moment was the kochav tov, and that's why we were saved. If it would have happened a second before Hatzot, remember that we want to understand why is this Hatzot such an important detail? It's such an important detail. Why? Because if it would have happened 1 second before, the constellation or the planet, whichever way you want to call it, is Jupiter, which is more Hamim. And the Egyptians and the world would have assumed that the reason why they were saved was just because that's the time of Rahamim, the Mazel. They got saved from the Mazal. Not because Hashem deemed it so.
But what about the Makat they got during that?
So good. No, agreed. But Bnei Yisrael didn't get saved because look, the fact that you're gonna have this mashchit coming in and wiping out as much as he can, and then you're able to dance between the raindrops, that's a miracle. But if you're gonna say that the reason why I was able to be saved was because of nature, it's not such a miracle. A miracle, it means defying nature. That's the definition of a miracle. I mean, why else you can say it's a miracle? Why is a miracle so important? Because it happens when you need it. That's why it's a miracle. There's miracles every day. Hashem defies nature all the time.
We're only looking at why the Jews were saved.
If it would have happened 1 second
We don't
before,
care about the Egyptians being killed.
no, we're happy. No, we're good. No, it's fine. It's
The
good.
focus is more on like they'll say that the Jews were saved not because of Hashem,
Right.
Because of the
Right.
the
same thing the other way. Agreed. The
stuff.
mazal. But the same thing the other way. If it happens 1 second after, right, Hatzot, which who you got? You got Mars. Mars is more Deen. The fact that the Egyptian died,
They'll say, oh,
it's part of nature. It had a plague, Corona, whatever. It is what it is. That's what they're gonna say. So it's not gonna be so great. Look, if it happened right after, which already starts the time of Mars, right? That the death of the Mitzrayim weren't such a great thing because the Kochav is Ra. That makes sense. About Hatzala Israel also would have been a great miracle, and that would have been the best part of the miracle. Okay, that Bnei Yisrael were saved from nature.
In other words, the Ness is not complete, or before Chatzot or after Chatzot.
Right. So you have to say, so you're going to say that Bnei Yisrael had zechut, right? And that's the reason why they were saved. But it's not. But it doesn't tell you. It doesn't answer why the Mitzrayim died. You got to make. By the way, this class is an Efrat Shema for a lot of people. A lot of things, but my grandmother, Mazal Bat Rachel, is Zechut Zera Shimshon. She should have a Efrat Shema and speedy recovery.
Amen.
Okay, now listen. Again, if we would have been before, if we would have said before that it would have been before, right? Then yeah, you're right. It would have been such a great. It would have been great that the Mitzvim died, which is great, but it's not such a big deal that Bnei Israel got saved because it was under the Mazal. It made sense. Okay, they didn't have to, it was fine. If it was after Hatzot and making it now where it's all Deen and the Mitzvim died, remember it's the opposite. We're more concerned now if it's after. The fact that the Mitzvim died after is not such a big deal, and the fact that Bnei Israel were saved before is not such a big deal because you're gonna attribute it to nature. Yes.
If they would have died, if the plague would have come on before midnight, when Jupiter is is a positive influence,
Right.
wouldn't that have been even a bigger miracle? Because if it's a positive influence and they're still dying,
But what about Bnei Israel being saved? They're not going to attribute the fact that we got saved as a miracle. It was. They're going to say it's because of the mercy. They're going to say that. You understand? What you're saying is correct. They're going to say that the fact that the Egyptians died during the nice time of night, call it, right? Then you're right. But it's not going to. But you cannot. Then you won't attribute the fact that we were saved during that same exact time. And that's not good. That's the nes. The nes was that no matter what happened, no matter what time, they were going to die and we were going to be saved. That's the key to show that Davka in the middle of the changing of the gods, it's got to be there somewhere, right? So the kavanah, the intention of God about kavanat Hakadosh Baruch Hu, hayta le'akot hamitzrim beoto harega mamash shel hatzi laila. His purpose was specifically to knock them.
So there's nothing from no
Sad.
There's
No
no
sad.
stars.
Leave me alone. I'm on my own. I did it myself.
So then why just say Kirchat Laila?
He said it because he didn't want the what's it called? If he would have said, because if they would have interpreted, astrologers would have said no, it's really 1 minute earlier, 1 minute later. Then they're going to neglect half the miracle, one way or the other. They're either going to say that Bnei Israel was saved because of the Mazal, or that the Mitzrayim were killed because of the Mazal, depending on whatever they decide is Hatzot. Yeah, now, by the way, people, you have, even in my app, I don't get the right one. I put Acham Vadia as the thing. It's still 5 minutes early. We're still shitot of how we attribute what is Hatzot Lala today. We don't know when Hatzot. You understand? You go by your Netz Mina is different than my Netz Mina. He's right.
Is to be able to refute to disable the astronomers from being able to say, oh, it's this half or that half.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yes.
now what if these astrologers were incorrect in their calculation of what Chatzot was exactly, whether it was exactly Chatzot or not Chatzot, if it was before, according to Hashem's calculation, all right, they're going to say, oh, look, this is happening before Chatzot, because that's what they're thinking.
That's right. So look.
Okay,
so
so then the
the
miracle.
astrologers, if I had to guess, it's a good question. If I had to guess,
They were like the best ever.
they were the best. They were the best.
The
Sure.
pyramids are built like.
They're still there. Well, who do you think built them? Hello.
They're all true north. They're all built on like lines with the summer solstice. It's all.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Like, they were
But I guarantee you that even the astrologers were going yes and no. Once I bet you it's 12:02, it's 12:03, it's 11:59. Right. That's what I'm saying. Right. So Moshe didn't want to say exactly midnight because my exact midnight might not be yours, but might be his, but not be his. Then you're gonna start a whole cause drama and commotion. Moshe Rabbeinu is looking to avoid that. He wants what's the miracle? It's a double miracle. The double miracle is that the Goyim died, the Mitzrayim died. Everyone's house had somebody crying, dead. Okay, and our house, we were having fun. We were eating. Like, that's the miracle, that we were saved and that they were killed. So and make sure that you and why? To show that Davka Hatzia Laila on midnight exactly, to show I don't need help. I am God, I did it myself. I don't need you, but I don't need nobody. By the way, when Moshe Rabbeinu says in the Midrash, when Abraham Avinu says, God, I looked at the stars, I'm not destined for children. So what does Hashem say? Leave the star. If I need to move this planet over there, put down over there for you to have kids, I'll do it. That's not your problem. You worry about you, let me worry about me. It's very funny if you read it. He's like, what do you care? He goes, I'll do it. It's my problem. It's not your problem. I'll deal with it. So that's exactly the same thing over here. Hashem saying, I am God. I'm the one that's doing it. And that's specifically why. Now, if Moshe would have said, Bahatzia Laila, right? The astrologers would have made a mistake and said that Moshe is a liar. What do you mean a liar? We said one of the questions was, how are you going to think that Moshe is a liar? A liar that this is a double miracle. That's the lie. That this, oh no, Moshe is trying to embellish the regular miracle and to say that no, there was even another miracle. Remember, why would one of the questions we asked, how is it possible the guys would assume that Moshe Rabbeinu was a liar? He's proven himself. He earned the stripes already, right?
Who said he's a liar?
The astrologers would say, if Moshe said, if I say midnight exact, then these guys are going to say that I'm a liar. So one of the questions, what are you talking about? We know, everybody knows you. It says in the what's it called? That Moshe was like the most popular guy in Mitzrayim, right? The pasuk says, right? It says he was the man. He was the man, no doubt about it. Kiv Yachol, he was the top guy. So tell me that Moshe Rabbeinu, they would assume that he's a liar. So what does it mean that they're going to call him a liar? That if it would have happened earlier, or if it happened when they thought it was before midnight, then they're going to say, oh, you're saying that Bnei Israel were saved and the Mitzrayim were killed as two miracles. No. Relax. It was only one. Because it's all based on the planets. Because, okay, you want to have Deen at night, so the Mitzrayim died very nice. That they're supposed to die. That's what happens. There's something, well, there's tsunamis. It happens all the time. What do you want? It happens. People die. It's unfortunate, but it's part of life. So they're going to assume that Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to piggyback off the regular miracle that happened, depending on which way they look at it, and is going to assume that the other part, whether Bnei Israel being saved or the Mitzrayim dying, it's a part of nature. So you understand? That's the key, based on the time. Jupiter or Mars. Jupiter, it makes sense Bnei Israel gets saved because it's time of Rahamim. If it's Mars, it makes sense that the Mitzrayim die. So you want to say that the other side of that coin is the miracle? No problem. But don't say the Mitzrayim dying at after Hatzot is a part of the miracle, because that it's not true. That could have been nature. That could have been something they ate. That's what it is. So that's the reason why that if he would have said Bahatzi at midnight, at the stroke of midnight, then the astrologers would make a mistake and say that Moshe is lying, right? Because what's the lie? That it's not a double miracle, right? Shehareh, why? Because he had the help of Jupiter or the help of Mars. Jupiter is the planet Jupiter. Every planet has stuff. I'm not so baki in it, but it's got stuff. No doubt about it. Yeah, it's kohot. 100% it's kohot. All right. But I always think about it. They say a lot of astronomers who went to space and came back became very religious. Became religious. I don't know. Maybe you could look that up. I don't know. But I didn't. But they said they became because they see something.
You're talking about astronauts.
Astronauts.
Yeah, you said astrologers.
Sorry, I was dyslexic. Figure it out.
Paying attention to you.
No, good. You're right. Haha. So I always thought. Space. You go into space. All you hear, it's silent. It must be crazy to see something like that. To see another planet, a giant planet, so clear and crisp and whatever. But thank God we have the Torah Kedusha.
Hiding in the whole thing.
Not hiding, God forbid. Hashem, there's a reason why it's there. Hashem is sustaining it, minute over minute, second over second, day over day.
Well.
Yeah. And there's a reason. And we could go our whole lives and not know the reason, but there's a reason, and he kept it that way.
So what? He's hiding himself?
He's hiding himself. He's not hiding. No.
You said reason to what?
The reason why the planets exist. You want to hear? I'll tell you. I'll tell you quick, okay? I'll tell you quick. You want to hear a story? I'll tell you later.
No, come on.
All right, fine. So I just came back, right? My daughter also came in the middle of the trip. Listen, this is a great one. And Cheryl, okay, she came and we came home together. But so there was only one ticket left. She wanted to go see my grandmother. We had a bris. We had a couple of reasons why she wanted to come. I don't know how she got it pulled off, but she did it. Okay, fine. So now she comes, and now she's sitting. When I travel, I travel business because I have to. Because I get off the plane. I have 3 people in my house waiting to talk to me. Like I don't have time to really, rest. This one was a killer. So anyway, now I decide I'm going to sit with her. Because I don't want to sit alone, so I'm going to sit with her. But what did I do? So I sat in the seat. I sat in the seat, and I told her, you have to take Musar. You have to take Musar. She goes, why? I go, the guy's going to come right now, and he's gonna look at his ticket, and he's gonna see that someone's in his seat. And what's the first reaction he's gonna do? He's gonna huff and puff. Oh my God! Don't they look at their tickets? Don't these people look at their tickets? The guy has no idea that he's about to get upgraded. No clue. He's gonna take my seat all the way in the front. But just because I want this, but we assume the worst just because it just it's not going the way I want it, so it must be bad. We can't be that way. We have to know that there's more to the world than meets the eye. And if we saw even the rough stuff that happens, if we saw why, we'd be begging for more. Just FYI. Thank God we don't see it, so we don't ask for more. But I'm just saying we would be, because to know the value of why things happen to us, it's really the reason. All right, let's continue. So again, okay, right? Right. So now by the way, here comes a bombshell. You ready for this? Even though that Moshe did say kahatzot alayla, not bahatzot on the day, he didn't change the word of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Why? It says in the Midrash, he bahatzot alayla. Right now, when the mashchit comes, right, the Malchamavet comes, it says the pasuk on midnight, at midnight. What does the Midrash say? He brings the pasuk in Yeshayatam, mekim devar avdo va'asat malachav yashlim, which means what? He confirms the word of his servant, and the wisdom, call it, right? Malachav yashlim, of his messengers he completes. What does that mean? Listen to what it says. He promised Abraham Avinu that he would be Goel, he would redeem Bnei Israel at midnight. When? It was crazy. Unbelievable. Abraham, huh? I'm sure he does.
No, he mentions that he says that when we talk about Chatzot, he says the exact same thing. He says this is referring back to when Abraham.
Because what does he tell him? He's chasing these 4 kings at midnight, and he says, "Okay, you stay. I'm going to take over because this zechut that you have. Why did Abraham do it?" I think the Or HaChaim says why, because Lot looked exactly like Abraham. And if the question is, Tom, how could Abraham rely on a miracle to go after 4 kings? When he's him and 300 guys, or him and Eliezer, regardless of who is he to do that, to rely on a miracle? It's not nice. That's a shame. And the answer is what? Because Lot, his nephew, looked exactly like Abraham. And people are going to say, oh, we captured Abraham. Oh, and Abraham's God is not real, fake. It's so strong. So because of that reason, and that reason alone, Abraham Avinu goes to war. Al-Kidu is sick. It's crazy. During Yetziat Mitzrayim, Bahatzot Alayla, exact. And when did he stop chasing them? Hatzot alayla. Abraham stopped chasing the 4 kings at midnight. Unbelievable.
He tells him now. The Or HaChaim says that the reason why he said Bachatzot is so he remembers. Remember what happened last time there was a Chatzot. And the Or HaChaim says that Moshe was warning Paro. And basically saying is, don't mess with us. We already know if you recall what happened, the big story that happened with Abraham. Everyone knows that story. That's what the Or HaChaim story. That Abraham basically at Chatzot it stopped. Miracle happened, and he says, do you want that to happen to you too? Basically, that's basically what he's saying. It's like,
very cool. Very cool. So look, שהבטיח לאברהם לגאול את בניו בחצי הלילה, כמו שרדף אחרי המלאכים, לקדש שמו של מקום. Why? When he chased away the 4 kings in order to what? לקדש שמו, to be מקדש שם שמיים. That's when he did it. And that's what the Haggadah says. Gilita la-Izrahi. Who's the Izrahi? Abraham. Abraham is called the Izrahi. Why? Because Hashem told him, leave where you are. Where was he? Was in the eastern part of the world. So he told him, leave where you are. Lech lecha me'artzecha. So he's called the Ezrahi. Hatzot leil Pesach. Huh?
I think it's Gilita Ezrachai for my citizens. Unless it says Ezrahi there, and then with the
It says Ezrahi.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Hatzot leil Pesach. That what? Because why? Because it's crazy. By the way, it's unbelievable. When Moshe says, Ko amar Hashem kahatzot, what does it mean, kahatzot? It doesn't mean around midnight. It means just like midnight. Kahatzot, like the hatzot that happened by Abraham Avinu. Okay? Ko amar Hashem, this is what God said by the hatzot by Abraham Avinu. Not now. It's like when Yaakov bows down to Esav. He's not bowing down to Esav. He's bowing down to Shekhinah. He just thinks he is. So when Moshe is telling Paro and the astrologers that I'm coming after him, that he's coming for you around midnight, not saying around midnight. Kahatzot could also be read just like. So just like the midnight that Hashem told Abraham, and Abraham chased the 4 kings. To the second Hatzot Laila Mamash. Right? Just like the Hatzot Laila that he promised to Abraham. וכן פירש דבריו לישראל, right? כדי שגם הם לא יטעו בדבריו. And he also, וכן פירש דבריו, I think this Moshe also said this to Bnei Israel in order that they should also be in on it and know what's going on. Because the Zohar HaKadosh, right? The Zohar, because those Zohar has 3 questions that Bnei Israel could ask on Moshe. So this answers, and it's a little not lengthy, but it's a little whatever. I didn't get into it because I just landed. But again, that's what it's about. That's what it's saying that he told Bnei Israel what's going on. And it's not the Hatzot that you're thinking of. It's Hatzot. It was when Hashem told Abraham, okay, 400 something years ago. The Hakadosh. By the way, the question is why did Hashem care so much to make it by Hatzot? Why did Moshe care to make it so much by Hatzot? Right? Why to teach you what? That the Shenishlam Haketz, that the end is closed, it's near, it's over. That even when Moshe, when Hashem was gozer galut, right, exile for his children by Beri ben Abitarim, that was I'm going to make a kid's
Hatzot Laila.
Hatzot Laila.
So the end of finished.
Hatzot to Hatzot. Hatzot to Hatzot. You understand? When did Beri ben Abitarim happen? Hatzot Laila. And the minute he said it, that's when the subjugation started. That's when the exile started. That's when the book of subjugation opened.
That's when he said it.
When he said it, when Hashem said it. Right? It was also Hatzot Laila. Right? An exact moment that it started the She'ebud, it makes sense that the exact moment it should end. Hatzot Laila, it shouldn't add a little bit more. Right? And we're going to finish over here. But by the way, this concept of Nishlam HaKetz is a very hard pill to swallow for Mitzrayim. How long is it supposed to be? 400 years, 430 years, right? Machloket. Some say 400, some say 430. Okay? So, but it's hard. Why? Because we know that it didn't finish. Because Hashem took us out beyond Hazakah, 49th level. But really, if we were not on the 49th level of Tumah, Hashem would have kept us there until the 430 years finished, and then we would have been taken out. So we would all been like, older. That if he would have said the words at midnight, Hayu Torim, that the colleges would make a mistake and they would say that Moshe is a liar because it didn't end yet. So fine, Moshe had a good run, but right now we know that's not true. We know that's not true. And what's proof? Right? The proof is that the Makkah did not come at Hatzot Laila, exactly Hatzot Laila. Remember, we said that the way it's going to start is the way it's going to end. Right? So Hashem did it specifically to show that it ended. Okay, what does Moshe say? Moshe doesn't want to say exactly midnight because he knows that there's some, footnotes there, and the Mitzvim will not understand it. Bal Yedaum Haleluka. They will never understand halachot. You tell a goy today, I work with them. They still think Friday night we go to sleep. They don't know. They go, all right, good night. It was 4:00. They don't get it. They don't get it because they're never going to get it. They're never going to get it. Don't bother. It's just the way it is. What am I telling you? This is what it is. Okay, so now if you want to explain to them that really the point at level, tomorrow, this and that, they're not going to get these things. So so Moshe didn't want to get involved and didn't want to get to a conversation. So he just said but the Makkah itself happened at Hatzot Laila, Mishum Hachi, right? And therefore, Amalem Kahatzot around Hatzot, Shelo legalot lahem asot, to not give up the secret, right? That Kahatzot is specifically the Hatzot of old, of Moshe, of Abraham Avinu. Right? But Moshe had full intention of telling them that it was going to be done at Hatzot Laila Mamash. Right? And what's the Hatzot that he's talking about? The Hatzot of Abraham Avinu. Unbelievable. Okay? So let's go. Cut this one and we'll start another one. Let's go look at. Yes.
The point, what I understand, is that there's this millisecond of Chatzot.
Changing of the guards.
And at this place, the Goyim, they don't know which Mazal is shining, which Kochav is shining, and therefore they have to say, "Whoa, it's something beyond."
No.
Because they can't you will never be able to attribute it to a double miracle. You will never be able to attribute it to a double miracle of the Bnei Yisrael getting saved and the Mitzvim dying.
I'm saying, but then they see it's something that they don't know what did it, and they're like more or maybe going to believe that there is a God by the Jews that's hitting them.
Well, they knew that they believed if the Egyptians died before Hatzot, they would have gone. But they would not have attributed Bnei Yisrael being saved from God. They would have said it's nature. They would have said Jupiter. That's why, I mean. And at the other side, if you look at the other side, you have the same problem. Because if it would have happened after